It was a typical afternoon when I trudged home from the gym, muscles aching and sweat clinging to my skin. The house was eerily quiet as I stepped inside, a stillness that had become familiar since Dad passed away 5 years ago. Mom and my sister, Lily, were nowhere to be seen, which wasn't unusual. The silence was comforting in its own way, a routine I'd grown used to. I headed straight for the bathroom, desperate for a shower to wash away the day's exhaustion. In my haste, I didn't bother grabbing fresh clothes. Nobody was home, so what was the point? I stripped in the living room, leaving my sweaty gym clothes in a heap, and made my way to the shower. The hot water was a relief, cascading over me as I lingered longer than usual, savoring the solitude. I wasn't in a rush, thinking I had the house to myself. But time, as I'd soon learn, had a way of playing tricks. When I finally stepped out of the bathroom, towelless and completely naked, I froze. There, on the living room couch, sat Mom and Lily, their eyes wide with shock. My clothes, which I'd carelessly left behind, were right there in front of them. My heart stopped. The silence stretched, heavy with awkwardness, as their surprised expressions morphed into stifled amusement. I grabbed my clothes in a frantic scramble, my face burning, and bolted to my room, slamming the door behind me. The embarrassment was overwhelming. I locked myself in, replaying the moment in my head, mortified at my carelessness. How had I not heard them come home? For days, I tried to convince myself it was a one-off, a fleeting moment we'd all laugh off eventually. Mom and Lily were gracious, not bringing it up, but the incident lingered like an unspoken shadow. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted, especially with Lily. She'd always been my playful, teasing sister, but her behavior started to feel different, more deliberate, less innocent. A week later, I was in my room, lost in a video game, the rapid clicks of my controller filling the space. It was my escape, a way to push the awkwardness aside. Then I heard the door creak open. Lily stood there, a mischievous grin on her face. I flashed a quick smile, expecting her usual banter about my gaming skills. But as she stepped closer, her teasing took on a new edge. Her hand brushed my shoulder, then my arm, lingering longer than it ever had before. It wasn't the playful roughhousing we'd shared growing up. Her touches felt intentional, almost probing, as if testing some invisible boundary. At first, I brushed it off as sibling antics. We'd always been close, bonded by years of inside jokes and carefree moments. But the air felt charged now, her laughter carrying a weight I couldn't ignore. When her hand grazed my thigh while I was deep in my game, I barely registered it. The second time I tensed. By the third, I couldn't pretend it was accidental. "Lily, stop," I said sharply, pulling away from the console to face her. My voice was louder than intended, cutting through the room. Her grin faded, replaced by a flicker of surprise, maybe even hurt. The silence that followed was thick, unfamiliar for us. "What's the matter?" she asked, her smirk returning, but with a challenging edge. "Can't handle a little teasing?" Her tone dared me to address the unspoken. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "You need to forget what you saw that day," I said firmly, hoping to reset whatever had shifted between us. Her eyes narrowed, and she crossed her arms dramatically. "Forget? How could I?" she teased, her voice playful but pointed. "I've never seen anything like that. It's impressive. Don't you want to share it with me?" Her words stunned me, and before I could respond, she added, "Mom even said she was curious." I bolted to the living room, heart racing, to confront Mom. "What is she talking about?" I stammered. Mom, ever calm, gave a small chuckle. "She's not wrong," she said lightly. "I'm 55, and I've never seen anything quite like it either." Her words left me reeling, unsure if they were joking or serious. The conversation took a surreal turn when Mom's tone softened, her eyes reflecting a mix of sadness and resolve. "It's been hard since your father passed," she said. "I've been holding everything together, but it's lonely. Lily's struggling too. She's 23, with no one to lean on. We're your family. We love you. Don't shut us out." Before I could process her words, Mom reached for my shirt, her fingers swift yet gentle as she lifted it off. I froze, my mind struggling to catch up. Her movements were deliberate, tender, as if guided by an impulse she didn't fully understand. Then, to my shock, she began unbuttoning her own shirt, her gaze steady on mine. My heart pounded, a mix of disbelief and curiosity swirling within me. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, as the room seemed to shrink around us. Lily joined us, her presence adding to the surreal atmosphere. As their clothes fell away, time seemed to slow, each moment stretching into eternity. The sight of them, bare and vulnerable, stirred something deep within me. It wasn't just physical attraction, it was a pull, a connection that felt both foreign and inevitable. My thoughts blurred, restraint giving way to a primal urge I hadn't anticipated. The space between us crackled with unspoken tension, drawing us closer. Without hesitation, we gave in, diving into a whirlwind of desire that felt exhilarating and reckless. Each touch, each moment, was electric, as if we were unearthing parts of ourselves we'd kept hidden. The world outside faded, leaving only the three of us, bound by a fleeting sense of freedom. We didn't pause to consider the consequences. The thrill of acting on our deepest urges was all-consuming, a rush that drowned out reason. It felt like we were untouchable, chasing a dream we'd long imagined. But in the back of my mind, a quiet voice wondered what this would cost us. For now, though, we were caught in the moment, driven by a need to feel alive, to connect in a way we hadn't before. The future could wait, at least for a little while.